Thank you for joining me in this workshop for Focus in 2021. I think we're all looking forward to starting off in 2021 with some new and energy. And this is a great way for you to begin the new year. And I'm very grateful and honored that you decided to join me. So, in today's practice, we're going to be talking about the five elements, the path of the five elements, which are earth, water, fire, air, and space, and how that connects to us on a human level, and how our particular constitution and mind body type connect, because we are all connected with the earth and the environment that which we live in. So hopefully you've taken your quiz that I've sent you the information on and give you an idea of identifying your mind body type, and to also to notice where the imbalances are that you might be going through at this particular moment in time. So we will work together as a support group so we can support each other as we move through a greater understanding of our mental, physical, and spiritual self throughout these practices in yoga and learning a little bit about Ayurveda. So I'd like to share with you my screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the doshas are. So as we focus in 2021, we're going to talk about a little about Ayurveda. The basis of Ayurveda is understanding that we are a part of nature and that your physical and psychological tendencies can be described in terms of the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. And everything in the natural world, including our bodies and the food we eat, are comprised of these five elements. In the mind and body, the five elements are expressed in three organizational patterns, which are called the doshas. In essence, the doshas are the five elements bound into the human form. Now that you've all taken the dosha quiz, you likely might have some insights about yourself and maybe a host of questions. The dosha tests are very helpful when learning how Ayurveda can assist you in viewing your patterns in maybe a new way. Remember, we all have all of the doshas in us. They're just in us in different proportions, and that your proportions are very unique just to you. What's even more important is learning how to treat the imbalances in Ayurveda, which is called, these imbalances are called your vikriti. The symptoms of imbalance in Ayurveda, such as indigestion, poor sleep, or a bad mood, is described as an axis of one or more of the doshas. And it's based on the understanding that in nature, like attracts like, and that like increases like. So we'll be designing throughout these weeks balancing yoga practice that will address the different imbalances that you may be having in this moment in your physical, emotional, spiritual body. So we're going to understand about your inherent nature of your body and mind. We're going to recognize when your body and mind are out of balance, and then we're going to choose that yoga practice that will bring you back into balance. The doshas themselves are comprised of the five elements. The kapha dosha is the combination of the earth and water elements. The pitta dosha is the combination of the fire and water element. The vata dosha is the combination of the air and ether. Through Ayurveda, we take a very multifaceted approach to alleviate these symptoms of imbalance. And one of the key tenets of treatment is a concept called opposite therapy. So remember that a dosha imbalance results from like increases like. So too much of any one thing might put you out of balance. For example, too much hot food makes a pitta too hot. So to balance a dosha in Ayurvedic, we apply the opposite. So, to balance a pitta in this example, a person should start to avoid hot, spicy foods like red chili peppers and use cooling herbs in their diet and spices such as cilantro, basil, or mint. They could also practice specific yoga postures to release excess heat from the body. So, as we continue over the next few weeks, we're going to learn more about the imbalanced qualities of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha and how to apply the opposite therapies to balance that through our asana, our poses, our yoga poses, and pranayama practices, which are our breathing practices. The yoga practices that will help balance pitta are cooling, softening, and engender a feeling of release and surrender. The key qualities of pitta are hot and sharp, mobile. And if you are dominant in the pitta, which are the fire and the water elements, you're going to be tend to drawn to intense, focused activities, whether it's your job, physical fitness, or even relationships. Pittas often enjoy being in charge and making things happen. And in food wise, pitta dominant people are drawn to that spicy, flavorful foods. They never skip a meal because their fire needs to be fed. Remember, the more intense activities and hot, spicy foods a pitta consumes, the more the pitta will increase. And if it increases too much, they will get symptoms of imbalance. For example, if a pitta dominant person eats an excess of hot, spicy foods, garlic, they will be more likely to have fiery symptoms of imbalance, such as hyperacidity, heartburn, irritability, judgmental outbursts towards themselves and to others. So, a yoga practice to balance pitta is certainly not going to be hot yoga. So, I know people with a pitta qualities, they really do want to do a strong practice. And a softer cooling practice is not necessarily what they really want to do, but it may be what they need to do. So try to understand that if you are a pitta, if pitta is your dosha, your main dosha. Now, yoga practices to balance a kapha person are heating, invigorating, and they build energy. The key qualities of a kapha person are heavy, wet, or slow and soft. So kapha dominated folks are naturally drawn toward a slower paced, comfortable, and nurturing activities, like being in nature or being in helping roles, such as a teacher or in service to others or a healer, or just taking it easy. And they enjoy earthy, watery foods. Think things like grains and dairies and sweets, breads, pasta, baked goods. Those dominant in kapha, which is the earth and water, who eat in excess of any earthy, watery foods may have symptoms of imbalance, which would be something similar to too much mucus or too much congestion, a sluggish energy, and also a very heavy mind. So that's why an asana practice like hot yoga or building heat and or invigorating practice to build that energy helps to bring a kapha imbalance back into balance. Now, asana practices to balance a vata imbalance is going to be very grounding, very containing, and it'll be a warming practice. So the key qualities of vata are lightness, motion, dryness, and cold. So, for example, if you tend to have some dominance of vata, which is the qualities of the air and space elements in your constitution, it's really natural that you'll be drawn to expansiveness, moving, ethereal things like attracts like, such as creative pursuits and a tendency towards daydreaming or self-expression through things like the arts or spiritual topics will be motivating for you. Moving around frequently versus staying in any one place. You may be drawn to airy and spacey foods such as salads, greens, or raw vegetables, or crackers and juices, or even wine. The challenge is that the more we eat or partake in these activities that are like us, the more it increases the amount of that element in us. And if it increases it too much, we'll get a symptom of imbalance. So if they eat airy, spacey foods, the Vata dominant people, frequently things like such as lettuce or crackers or kale or sprouts, they'll be more likely to have airy, spacey symptoms of imbalance. And these will represent common forms of such as gas or indigestion or bloatedness and feeling ungrounded and just an overall inability to focus. So in Vata, our practice today is going to be focused on bringing Vata into balance. If Vata tends to be flightly, and when you're in Vata imbalance, will tend to be flighty and ungroundedness, and often makes a habit of overexertion. So adapting your lifestyle to balance these tendencies can be truly transformative. Favor experiences that are mentally and physically grounding, nourishing, sweet, and stabilizing. So looking at creating patterns such as following a Vata pacifying daily routine with choices like getting up at the same time and going to bed at the same time and eating your meals at the same time each day. As much as you may resist routine, your nervous system will find it incredibly stabilizing. Also, embracing a daily self-care by getting your adequate rest, taking some quiet time for yourself each morning, and giving yourself a loving massage at least once a week. Also, there are breathing practices, practicing pranayamas, which can have a profound calming effect on the entire system. And so we will today, in today's practice, we're going to be practicing a few pranayamas, such as the deep yogic breathing, as well as Nadi Shodhanam, the alternate nostril breathing, to help bring us back into balance. And these are wonderful balancing pranayamas, and they really do help most all doshas. A diet for Vata pacifying is a diet of freshly cooked whole foods that are soft or mushy in texture, that they're rich in protein and fat, and seasoned with a variety of warming spices and served warm or hot. These foods will help to lubricate and nourish the tissues and preserve moisture and maintain warmth, all the while supporting the proper digestion and elimination. Vata often forgets to eat, so you can also balance Vata by creating a sense of routine around your meals and being careful not to skip your meals, the 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You want to think about choosing foods that are going to be sweet, like grains and fruits, squashes, root vegetables, and fresh dairy products. The taste of sour, think things like pickles or lemon or limes or pineapples and grapefruits, or salty. And you want to avoid foods that are pungent, spicy foods like chilies and radishes, or garlic and onions, and especially heating spices. Avoid bitter, like bitter greens like kale and dandelion and collards, or bitter melon. And the one I hate to see avoiding is chocolate. And then astringent, think beans like raw vegetables and green bananas and pomegranates. So these are just some guidelines. And again, I always like to just say, this is not the do's and don'ts that you have to stop it all. I want you to think about how you can start to make slight adjustments if you are currently with a Vata, a raised, elevated Vata, if you're right at this time. Majority of the people who responded to this quiz are elevated in the Vata constitution. So some of these tips may be really very helpful. So I hope that you find this information helpful to you. We'll review this and add on to it each week a little bit more, but now we're going to begin our practice. So I am going to invite you to make your way onto your mat, and we're going to start in the crocodile posture. So to come into crocodile, I will invite you to come to your mat, and in crocodile pose, it's a very grounding pose. So I would like for you're going to lay prone face down on your mat, and you're going to cross your arms one on top of the other, and you're going to place your forehead right on top of your forearms. Extend your legs behind you, and your feet should be about mat width apart. And begin to settle into the sense of your physical body and feel the earth that is supporting you right now beneath you. Just take a moment to get settled into this particular posture. Take your time and settle in. This posture will create a sense of grounding. You're going to feel your abdominals on your mat. And I want you to begin to just settle in here for a moment or two. Crocodile helps to calm your nervous system. It's a very supportive pose. So I want you to feel the earth beneath you. Feel the support beneath your arms, your abdomen, your pelvis, and your legs. So feel that support. Take a moment or two for your breath to sort of kick in. Just notice as you scan your body from head to toes what the sensations are that you're feeling in your physical body. So notice if you have tightness in your shoulders or your back. If for any reason this posture is not good for you, just roll over onto your back. So remember, whatever I offer you today, modify this anything I offer to you to what feels appropriate for you in this moment in your body. So one of the important things that we want to remember in a Vata practice is really living in this moment. So being in this moment in this practice, okay? So find your breath. We want this to be nourishing. So as you assess your body, mind, and energy where you are right now in this practice, notice what you're feeling. There's no right or wrong to it. It's just being aware. And allow yourself to be kind to yourself today, kind and gentle to yourself in this practice. You want to create some warmth in this practice, fluidity in our movement, but it will be slow, smooth, and steady. That's the pace of today's practice. Slow, smooth, and steady. We will do poses of multiple times, multiple repetitions. And I want you to just check into your power center, the area surrounding your navel. So as you breathe in right now, breathe deep into the bowl of your belly so that you feel your navel pressing into your mat. And you feel that pelvic triangle, which is between your hip bones and your pelvis. So feel that triangular area of your pelvic center. As you inhale, feel the belly pressing into the mat, an expansion. As you exhale, feeling the release. As you continue to inhale, continue to feel how the rib cage expands out to the sides, how your chest will expand on the inhale all the way up to your throat. Your collarbones broaden with the breath on the inhale, and then everything relaxes and settles on the exhale. Again, notice the breath. Try to create more space and allow the breath to become more even and supportive. Nice. Again, this big, deep yogic breath, breathing into the bottom, into the middle, into the top, And exhaling all the way out from the top to the middle to the bottom. Just as you get to the end of the bottom of the exhale, you're going to begin again with the inhale. Try to create a smooth and even inhale and a smooth and even exhale. Allowing it to be without jerkiness. So try to create that smooth sensation of the breath. As you're resting here, prone in this position, feel this connection to the earth beneath you. Grounding with the earth, and just trust now that Mother Earth will support you in this practice. We want to trust the earth to be here, to be supportive for us. Take one more nice big deep inhale. And now as you exhale, if your eyes are closed, open up your eyes. And you're going to just slowly come up onto your elbows. And we're going to gently make our way back into a child's pose. So come onto your hands and knees and just gently press your hips all the way back towards your heels. Extend your arms way out in front of you. And feel how your torso drapes over the tops of your thighs. Try to stretch out that low back and maybe shift your hips from side to side. Relax your forearms onto the mat so your elbows are resting on the mat for a moment as you keep shifting your hips from side to side, releasing the lower back. We're going to create a little flow here. We're going to inhale. You're going to press up into your cow position, all fours tabletop. Inhale. You're going to lift your collarbones, open up through the chest, soften your belly, and lift your tailbone on your inhale. And then on your exhale, you're going to press back into your child's pose. Sweeping your arms around alongside your body as you exhale. On your next inhale, you're going to sweep your arms out to the sides, push up onto your shins, sweep your arms overhead. Now, as you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows, palms touching, bring the hands behind the back of your neck, and press yourself back into child's pose. Place the palms back onto the mat, and then inhale, come back up onto all fours. We're going to repeat. Exhale now, round the back and press all the way back into child's pose. Sweep your arms around alongside your shins and your feet as you bow your head down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Bring your arms overhead. You can even look up and touch your palms if that feels appropriate for your neck. If it doesn't, don't look up. As you exhale, bend your elbows. Bring your palms to touch the back of the nape of your neck as you exhale back into child's pose. Place your forearms on the ground and repeat one more time this series. Inhale, come up onto tabletop and into your cow. Lift your collarbone and your shoulders. As you exhale, press back into child's pose. Sweep your arms behind you. As you inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Press up into your shins, arms overhead, gaze overhead. Exhale, bend your elbows, palms behind the back of your neck, and press back into your child's pose. Place your forearms back on the mat. We're going to add a downward dog into this posture. So we're going to start again. Inhale, come up onto all fours. Lift your collarbones and your shoulders. As you exhale, sweep your arms behind you as you press back into child's pose. Inhale, stand up on your shins, extend your arms out and up. Exhale, bend your elbows, press back into child's pose. Place your forearms on the floor.
Come up onto all fours and shift, tuck your toes and press back into your downward dog. In your downward dog here now, I would like you to stay here for a few breaths and pedal your feet. Just pedal your feet, stretch out the back of the body, wake up the back of your legs. And then when you feel ready to find stillness in your body, I want you to feel the groundedness of this posture. Feel the earth beneath your hands and the earth beneath your feet. And imagine your arms are like two big straws, drawing up the energy from the earth through your arms, all the way through the spine to your tailbone. Feel that energetic connection going down the back of your body, from your hip bones, down your legs, down into your heels. And feel that connection. Your heels do not have to touch the earth. Your toes and the balls of your feet are that connection for you. Keep your knees soft. Do not lock out your knees. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, you're going to lower the knees. And we're going to press back. Sweep your arms behind you. We're going to repeat back into child's pose. Inhale. Stand up on your shins. Sweep your arms up overhead. Palms to touch. As you exhale, bend your elbows, bring your hands behind you, sweep all the way down into child's pose. Place your forearms on the mat, palms on the mat, and then come back up as you exhale into your downward facing dog. Find stillness in your downward dog for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to repeat and link this two times together, okay? So inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Exhale, sweep your arms behind you alongside your feet. Child's pose. Inhale, stand up on your shins, sweep your arms up overhead. Bend your elbows. As you exhale, shift back into that child's pose. Drop your forearms onto the mat, and then inhale up into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to your mat. Exhale, sweep your arms behind you. Child's pose. Inhale, press up onto your shins. Look up. Exhale, bend your elbows as you sweep back into child's pose. Place your forearms down on the mat and inhale, come back up into your downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, stay here now for a couple breaths. Breath in and breath out. And just feel the sensation of connecting. Take another breath here. Now bend your knees, look forward, and step your feet halfway up your mat. You're in a forward fold. Feel the ground beneath your feet. And maybe just grab onto your forearms and just let your spine hang. If you like to do the ragdoll, here's a nice time to just go back and forth in a ragdoll and just let your spine hang. And then as you inhale, I'm just going to invite you to sweep your arms all the way out and up. Bring your palms to touch. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Think about setting an intention for your personal self and your focus for 2021. Maybe let your hands come down by your sides. And just notice that felt sensation of your body. Feel the connection to the earth through your feet, the 4 corners of your feet, big toe mound, little toe mound, inner heel and outer heel. Feel the ground beneath you. Draw your shoulders forward and up and roll them down the back so the palms of your hands are open to receive. Again, remember the power of the breath here. So as you inhale, I want you to really create that full yogic breath. So as you inhale, you're breathing into the bottom, the middle, and the upper portion of your lungs, filling your breath. And then as you exhale, exhale complete with a gentle drawing the navel center, drawing right into that exhalation. And again, as you inhale, let that breath sweep up your body. And exhale out, squeeze. And then one more time. Let's just do some gentle shoulder rolls. Bring the shoulders forward and up and roll them down the back, releasing any tension in these joints. And then you're going to roll the opposite direction. Okay, back, forward, up, and down. Try to link the breath with movement. Inhaling, bring it back and up. Exhaling, forward and down. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, forward and down. One more time. Good. Now we're going to add that movement into a sun salute, that little gentle flow we did. So I'm going to invite you to step up towards the front of your mat. As you face the front of your mat, you're going to inhale, sweep your arms out and up. And then exhale, come into that forward fold. Exhale. Inhale now, step your right foot back and lower your right knee into the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And then as you exhale, you're going to cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Tuck your toes underneath. And step back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees. Come up through tabletop. As you exhale, sweep your arms behind you, forehead towards the floor. Inhale, press up onto your shins, press your arms up. As you exhale, bring your hands behind your head and come back into child's pose. Press your palms onto the floor and inhale, come back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward and step up to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Exhale, come all the way down into forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Now, as you exhale, step your left leg behind in a lunge and lower the left knee to the floor. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down and step back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Exhale, sweep your arms around behind you into child's pose. Inhale, stand up on your knees, lift up, look up. Exhale, bend your elbows and come down into child's pose. Place your forearms on the mat, tuck your toes, and make your way back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, and walk up to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, palms to touch. And then exhale, bring your hands back to your heart center. Pause here. Maybe soften your gaze inward and just feel the warming qualities of a sun salutation, building a little bit of heat into the body. And repetition is really very important in the Vata pacifying sequence. So we're going to repeat that same sequence again. So whenever you're ready, we'll begin. Come to the front of your mat. On your next inhale, sweep your arms out and up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step your right foot back, lower your right knee to the mat. Inhale up into a kneeling lunge. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to your mat and step back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees, sweep your arms behind you. Exhale into child's pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up, standing on your knees, look up towards the heaven. Exhale, bend your elbows, come back down into child's pose. Place your forearms, palms on the mat, and then exhale, step back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, and step up to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And then we're going to exhale right back and do the other side. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale now, step your left foot back, lower your left knee onto your mat. Make sure your knees are directly over your ankles as you come up. Knees and toes always go in the same direction. Inhale, lift your arms up. Fill your lungs with the breath. And as you exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Step back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Exhale, your arms, sweep them behind you, alongside your shins as you come into child's pose. Inhale, stand up onto your shins. Lift your arms up, lift your gaze up. Exhale, bend your elbows, come back into child's pose. Place your elbows and then palms onto the mat, and then inhale back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward, and walk up to the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to your heart. Let your hands come down by your sides. Good. We're going to add a warrior one into that sequence, okay? So we'll continue to build on that posture, on these postures just a little bit with repetition and increasing the intensity with that. All right, and always move in a way that feels appropriate for your body today, and make whatever adjustments you need to so that this practice feels right in your body. All right, so again, face back the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, come into a forward fold. Inhale, now step your right foot back, but place the heel of the right foot on the ground. It's on a slight angle. Bend your left knee as you inhale, lift up your torso. I'm going to invite you to just place your hands on your hips for a moment. I want you to feel your pelvis. Make sure your hips are stable, that your shoulders are over your hips. And when you look over your left foot, your knees and toes are in the same direction. Really ground down through the heel of the right foot and knees and toes, feeling the earth beneath your feet. Remember the strength of a warrior, really grounding down. And remember, we're trying to create a grounding, nourishing practice today. But I want you to feel totally supported with the earth beneath you. Once your shoulders are stacked over your hips, you're going to sweep your arms forward and up. And relax the shoulders, lift the sternum. Palms facing each other. And we're going to just take a few moments here to find that breath. I want you to really feel that deep, deep breath. Breathing into the bottom, to the middle, and the upper. So find your breath, please. Beautiful. Feel that strength and that energy of the breath. So we're going to cartwheel our hands down and go back into a downward facing dog. Cartwheel the hands to the earth. Step your foot back. You're in downward facing dog. Shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Exhale, sweep your arms around your shins as you come into a forward fold, child's pose. Inhale, stand up on your shins, look up, palms touch. Exhale, bend your elbows behind the nape of your neck and come into child's pose. Elbows and palms onto your mat, and then inhale up into your downward facing dog. Inhale, look up to the front of your mat, walk up to the front of your mat. Sweep your arms all the way out and up. And we're going to proceed right into the other side as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, now step your left foot back into warrior one. Make sure that left foot is grounded. And then inhale up. As you come up again, place your hands on your hips. I really want you to get that felt sensation of grounding through your pelvic bowl. Make sure your knees and toes are in the same direction and you're energetically pressing back through that left foot. Feel the outer edge of your left foot anchoring and grounding into the earth. Feel the ball and heel, inner heel and outer heel of the front foot as well, pressing down into the earth. Energetically, your pelvis is grounded. Breathe deep into the bowl of your pelvis, and then sweep your arms forward and up. Relax those shoulders so that you're really in a nice, strong warrior one position. Feel the breath here. Beautiful. Relax your shoulders, soften the face. Be in this moment now. Your mind begins to wander, keep coming back to the breath and the physical sensations that you're feeling in your body. Notice what you're feeling. As you inhale now, exhale, cartwheel your hands back to the earth and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to your mat. Sweep your arms behind you towards your feet. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, lift up on your shins. Place your palms to touch. Bring your palms to the back of your head. As you exhale, again, come back to child's pose. Place your palms onto the earth. As you inhale, come back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. And step up to the front of your mat. Inhale all the way up, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Lower your hands by your side and again, pause into that felt sensation and notice what's happening into the nervous system in your body. Notice if you're starting to feel a sense of warmth, if there's any sense of nourishment with these practices, with the breath. Let the breath be your nourishment, breathing in and breathing out. Let the air nourish you. The Vata tendency air, we want to use that pranayama. Pranayama is that, and prana is that life-giving force that we're breathing in. And energetically, you want to take that into your body and let your body process it and energize with it. All right, we're going to add on a warrior two to this practice. So inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And now on your exhale, I'm going to invite you to step your left foot back. Your right foot is forward. Okay, and when you come up, you're going to be your torso and your hips are facing the long edge of your mat. But your right foot is facing towards the front of your mat. Your right knee is bent. Shoulders stacked over your hips. Expand your arms. And now your gaze is over the middle finger of the forward arm. So stand really stable and steady in this very, very powerful warrior two. And we're going to gently move back and forth, make it a little bit fluid now. With an inhale, we're going to lift up into the peaceful warrior. And then on your exhale, you're going to lower that right arm and come into an extended side angle. And we're going to move back and forth between these two moves 3, 4, 5 times, okay? So I want you to find your own rhythm here as you inhale. You can be a little bit more fluid here. You don't have to be so rigid. With Vata, we want a little bit more fluidity in the moves. You can move back and forth between your arms. Breathe into the side ribs as you exhale. Come into that forward, into that side angle pose. The inhale is lifting up into peaceful warrior. Exhale into side angle. The next time you make your way up to peaceful warrior, just hold there a moment. Relax that shoulder and maybe gaze up into the palm of that hand. Ground down through your legs, but feel that energetic connection into this very, very nice lateral move. Breathe into that side ribs. We really want to increase the capacity of your intercostal muscles. Take a nice big deep inhale. And then on your next exhale, lower the right elbow to the right knee. Keep your spine long. Don't sink into the right shoulder so that you're energetically really grounding down through your legs and you have a nice long connection through your spine, right up to the crown of your head. Now we're going to take the left arm and we're going to circle it like a windmill, okay? So let's make a nice circular motion here. You're going to inhale, sweep the arm down, around, up, and back. And if you want to even follow it with your gaze, go right ahead. Down, around, back, and up. And then one more time. Down, around, back. And when you get to up, let's stay in the up position in any way that feels appropriate for your shoulder. Some of you might prefer to bring the arm over your ear. Some of you might prefer it up. Some of you might even prefer to just place your hand on the back of your sacrum. Just notice how that feels if you've never tried that before. Breathe into that low back area. See if you can feel your breath in that very deep area. Beautiful. Now make your way back up through Warrior Two. Now exhale back and cartwheel your hands to the floor and step back into your downward dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Exhale, sweep your arms behind you. Inhale, stand up on your shins, palms overhead. Exhale, bend your elbows. Come back into that grounding child's pose. Place the palms of your hands on the mat. Inhale up into your downward facing dog. Exhale, step up to the front of your mat. Inhale all the way up, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Exhale, come into a forward fold. Inhale now and step your right foot back. You're going to come into a Warrior Two pose. Left foot forward, right foot back. I'm turning around to face the camera, so you'll see that. But you're going to just have your left foot forward, right foot back. Make sure the outer edge of your back foot is really anchored and grounding down. Your pelvis is stable, shoulders over your pelvis, arms parallel to the floor. And now your gaze is over the middle finger of your left hand. So focus on that energetic quality. You might even want to try palms up just to feel a shift in the shoulders. See how that feels for you. Being open to receive grace. Find that deep belly breath. Now inhale, sweep your arms up. And then exhale, come into extended side angle. You can do that several times. And again, make this as fluid as it feels good for you. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And one more time. Inhale and exhale. The next time you come up, you're going to hold Peaceful Warrior. Hold. Feel that stretch through that rib cage, left side of your body. Breathe deep into the intercostals of the left side of your lungs. Stay anchored and grounded through your feet. Feel that connection. Breathe deeply. The breath is the energy that's going to enliven you. That's going to, your body heals with the breath. You inhale all the oxygen, nourishing your body. And the exhale is releasing and letting go whatever that does not serve you. One more time. Now, as you exhale, lower the left elbow to the left knee. Again, keep your spine long. Sweep. We're going to do the circles. So bring your arm down, around, and up. Big circles 3 times. Sweep your arm down, around, and up. And the last time, down, around, on the up. We'll keep it there. Feel that openness, shoulder to shoulder, expansiveness, fingertips to fingertips. Do not collapse into the left shoulder. You're really anchored through your legs energetically. Find the stability, the steadiness, and the stability of this posture. And then inhale, come back up through your warrior two. And then exhale, come back down into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lower your knees to the mat. Sweep your arms behind you. Exhale, press up onto your shins. Inhale up. Bend your elbows. Exhale, back into child's pose. Lower your palms onto your mat. Inhale, back into downward facing dog. And now when you exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and walk up to the front of your mat. Inhale all the way up, palms to touch. And then exhale, hands to heart. And hands to your side. And again, just take a moment to notice those felt sensations. Good. Now for our next pose, for those of you who have a block, now's the time I'm going to invite you to find your block. So you're going to place the block. You're going to stand at the long edge of your mat, so you're wide angled. We're going to do wide angled twist, okay? So you want to place the block in front of your right foot. I'll demonstrate first so you can see me. But we're going to feet nice and wide. You're going to inhale. When you exhale, you're going to bend your right knee, and you're going to twist, bringing your left hand towards the block, and you want your fingers pointing towards the front part of your mat, or whatever direction that is. And then you're going to inhale, come back up, all right? So you're going to bend the knee slightly. You're not going to lock out the knee joint. We're going to repeat that 3 times, all right? So spread your arms wide, legs wide, get grounded through your legs, knees slightly soft. Inhale. On your exhale, you're going to twist. Bring your left hand over towards the block by your right foot. And then inhale, come back up. Again, inhale. And then exhale, twist, hand to the block. Your other arm is up behind you, and maybe you want to even look up towards that reaching arm, and then inhale back to center. The next time we'll have a hold here. So as you exhale, place your palm on the block, sweep your other arm out and up, lengthen your spine, and then lift. And you want to create a twist in the body here. Notice how that feels. You may even choose to place that right hand on the back of your sacrum. Lengthen your spine, and see if you can open up without forcing. Do not force or push yourself into a twist, but you want to create that twist. Now, if that's aggravating to anybody because of something that's going on, place your hand on your thigh instead of the block. So I'm modifying this here for those of you who might prefer this variation, because you know what? You need to pay attention to what this feels like in your body. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, come back out. Lower your arms. And then you're going to place your block by your left foot. And we'll do the opposite side. Extend your arms out nice and wide as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring your right hand to the block by your left foot. Twist, and then inhale, reach. Exhale, twist, bend the knee slightly. A little bend in your left knee is healthy. Inhale, lift. Now remember, the next time we're going to hang out here. So as you twist, place your palm on the block, sweep your left arm up, look up, try to really length in your spine as you twist through your rib cage, your shoulders, and your neck. Notice how that feels. So twisting postures have a lot of heat in them. They heat up. So this is very warming, but it also works the digestion in the muscles and organs. You can also bring your hand to the back of your sacrum and notice how that might feel for you today. Take one more breath here, nice deep twist. Make your way back up. Exhale, lower. Hands to hips. Point your toes out a little. We're going to come into what we call the goddess pose. Drop your, or also called the horse stance. Shoulders over hips. I want you to lengthen your tailbone and zip up your zipper here. Get very grounded in this position. Shoulder blades down the back. Root down through your feet, knees and toes in the same direction. So feel the groundedness in this pose. I want you to draw that zipper up so your core is strong. Your shoulders are over your hips. And then you can bring your arms behind your head. Just lift up just gently through the chest, the sternum. And then as you exhale, just gently bend to your right. Side bend. Inhale up. Exhale to the opposite side. I'm going to do that a few more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, left. Exhale, side bend. We'll do that one more each side. Make your way back to center. Straighten your legs. Relief. Arms to your side. Place your hands in the back of your sacrum. Now we're going to come into a full forward fold. Now my toes, I'm pointing my toes inward now so that my feet are more parallel. Palms to my sacrum, lengthen my tailbone. Just take a gentle lift of the sternum. We don't want to have too big of a back bend. We don't want to create too much overexertion in the back bend. But we're going to come into that nourishing forward fold. So come hinge at your hips. Let your hands slide down your legs. Now you can use a block. If you have tight hamstrings, you might prefer to place your hands on a block for that forward fold. For those of you who want to go deeper, you can bring your hands to the floor, maybe even bring the crown of your head to the floor and take a nice wide forward fold. This is really very, forward folds are very, very nourishing to the Vata balancing. And then inhale, wherever you are now, turn towards your toes to feet to face the front of your mat and step back into your downward dog. And from your downward dog, drop your knees, make your way back into child's pose. Press your abdominals against your thighs, hands down by your shins. And then as you inhale, come on up. We're going to just do a little stretch of the wrists. As you come up, if it's comfortable for you to sit on your, you can sit back on your heels. If that's not comfortable, keep your hips off of that. Let's place your palms on the floor in front of you. And I want you to just experience, we're just going to open up the wrists a little, maybe bring your hands out to the sides. Notice how that feels. If you have carpal tunnel or anything going on, active arthritis, don't put too much weight into it. But for those of you, this is a really nice stretch, maybe even bringing your fingertips towards you and gently put a little pressure on it and notice how that feels. Grounding through the hands. Just feel that sensation. Good. And then release. Shake out your hands. We're going to come onto our prone position again, where we're going to come back onto our belly. We're going to do a little bit of couple poses, cobra and a locust pose on our belly, and then make our way into some other relaxation practices, okay? So come onto your belly, like we just started in crocodile, but now we're going to practice cobra. So bring your hands alongside your chest, draw your shoulder blades down your back, and bring your inner thighs towards one another, the tops of your toes flat on the mat. So right now you can rest your chin on the mat. The back of your neck should not have any wrinkles in it. You shouldn't be cranking your head forward. Now, if you can, I want you to find that pubic triangle that's between your pelvis and your pubic bone. Really ground down through the pubic. Lengthen through your tailbone, like you're lengthening your tailbone down in between your legs. The tops of your feet are pressing into the mat energetically. Palms relax alongside. Elbows in, shoulders down the back. Now see if you can inhale, slightly come up. without jerking your neck forward. And see if you can lift your hands off the mat. Feel that sensation. And then press the palms down and see if you can come up just a little. Inhale. And then as you exhale, rest your cheek to the right. Inhale, press up again. Elbows in. Exhale, press your cheek, opposite cheek to the mat. We'll repeat that one more flow. Inhale, press up to cobra. Exhale, press your cheek to the opposite side. Inhale, press up into cobra. And rest the opposite cheek again. Come back, rest your chin on the mat. Bring your arms alongside your torso, palms towards your thighs, thumbs down. Energetically now we're going to come into the locust pose. So your inner thighs towards one another. See if you can lift from your legs, lengthen out through your thighs, through your knees, and lift your feet off the mat. See how that feels. You can keep your chin on the mat, but try not to crunch those lower back. So in order to avoid that crunchy feeling, you really need to connect to the pelvis, that pelvic triangle, lengthen through that tailbone, and then exhale, release, and rest your cheek to one side. And let all those muscles relax. And notice what that sensation feels like once you relax all those muscles. A lot of energy to connect in that area of the body. We're going to repeat that again. So again, let's bring your inner thighs towards one another. Lengthen out through your legs. Hands alongside your thighs. Thumbs down. Now energetically lift your legs up an inch or two. They don't have to go very high. Feel that connection of energy, that pelvic triangle pressing into your mat. And then see if you can lift your head and shoulders up, balancing on that pelvic triangle, the navel center. Really, this is an excellent back bend. And again, feel this connection to the earth beneath you. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, release everything, relax. You can bend your knees now if you'd like and do little windshield wipers and notice how that releases the lower back. And then slide your hands alongside your chest and press up and back and take another child's pose. So when you do these types of very active back bends, you want to complement it with a forward fold. So feel that energetic quality now of the back bend and feel the release of that forward fold, how nourishing that forward fold feels right now. And just allow yourself to go inward. Good. And then very slowly, now I'm going to invite you to come on up. For those of you who have a block and have whatever you're going to need for relaxation nearby, okay? But I want you to come, we're going to do a constructive rest pose. We're going to do a legs up the wall variation, and we're going to do a nice guided relaxation and then a seated meditation. So we've got a few more things to do, but I want you to have your props near you so that you can just get your hands on it. So now I'm going to invite you to come into constructive rest pose, which means bend your knees, feet flat on the floor, come onto your spine, draw your shoulder blades down the back, bring your palms alongside your body, and just feel the earth supporting your spine. So feel the back of your head, your shoulders, your pelvic area, the back of your pelvis, your sacrum, your feet on the mat. I might invite you now to just bend your knees into your chest and do a little rock and roll. And maybe if you like happy baby, do happy baby, just to release the low back and see how that feels. And then I'm going to invite you to come back when you're ready. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe do a nice exhale. Bring your forehead up towards your knees. Squeeze out any unnecessary tension that you might be holding on to. And then you're going to, if you have a block, if you don't have a block, you can always use a pillow, a blanket, a rolled towel, and lift your hips up and place that underneath your sacrum. So we're in what we call a supported bridge variation. Very restorative, constructive pose that is excellent. It has many, many nourishing qualities for the body. In particular, to release nervous tension in the vagal nervous system, and this helps to kick in, relax, and rest. Bring your palms down by your sides, And I'm going to give a couple options here. We're going to stay here for about 2 or 3 minutes. But if you'd like to, you can bring your knees in and extend your legs up, like legs up the wall. Now, some of you who have a wall nearby and you'd rather put your legs up a wall for the next 2 or 3 minutes, go right ahead, or otherwise stay on your mat with the block with the legs up. And just take advantage of just being in this moment, allowing this pose to do its magic. And the magic of this is allowing the blood from your legs. We've done some nice standing poses. And now we're going to allow that blood from your feet and your ankles and your legs to make its way back towards your heart. And as it does that, it's going to, with a slight lift of the pelvis, what it does is that it cleanses through the lymphatic system that's in your pelvic area. So I want you, as you breathe, to just imagine that blood being re-energized and cleansed and nourished. And just find the quality of your breath. See if you can slow the breath to a nice long, slow inhale and a nice long, slow exhale. We'll stay here for about another 30 seconds. And wherever you are, you're going to gently begin to bend your knees and place one foot down to the earth and then the other foot down, making sure both feet are grounded, and then lift the pelvis up, release the block from your pelvis, and then gently bring your knees in towards your chest and gently rock from side to side, releasing the low back, and just enjoy the energetic quality of the very relaxing, restorative posture. Now I'm going to invite you, whenever you're ready, to make your way into Shavasana, so relaxation pose. We're going to do a guided relaxation. And here's where, if you have those extra props, if you want to put a thin pillow under your head, go right ahead. If you want to put a blanket over your body, if you have a folded towel and you want to experience placing some additional weight, just a grounding sensation of taking a rolled towel or a rolled blanket and just place it over your diaphragm that's just below your rib cage. You want to just get a little bit of weight there that's just going to create a little sense of resistance in your breath, just strengthen your diaphragm muscle. This is really very, very nourishing practice. But if you don't have it, that's fine. Just find relaxation. So settle in. Everyone find the most comfortable, relaxed position. And if some of you, just whatever that might be, if it's still with your legs up the wall, you can keep your legs up the wall. But if you can, in this practice, we're going to do what they call a flow of awareness, following the breath flowing from your head to your toes. From your toes up, sweeping motions from your toes all the way up to the crown of your head, and then from the crown of your head as you exhale all the way down to the toes. So these sweeping movements. So this is truly a practice that can help you get centered and go inward. So as you're laying flat, palms up, legs spread apart, allow your body to release into the weight of the floor. And just acknowledge how we hold ourselves and let the weight of the physical body feel the supports beneath it. Invite your mind to release. As you begin to cultivate a smooth, deep, full yogic breath, feel the gentle rhythm of the belly rising and falling with the breath. Continue to invite your breath to become more refined and more subtle. Develop a sense of effortlessness with the breath as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And invite your breath to release any shakiness or trembling. Smooth, even inhale. Smooth, even exhale. And try to relax the effort. And move with your own cadence. So stay with your even, steady breath. Despite, as I guide you, if I'm moving too quickly or too fast for your own breath, just stay with your own breath. As you feel the space that your body occupies, and that own awareness, that self-awareness of you occupying the space. As you inhale now, allow the breath to explore from the toes, as you scan all the way up to the crown of your head, moving over your legs, major joints of your knees and your hips, your chest, all the way to the crown of the head on the inhale. You get to the inhale, exhale from the crown of the head, following that flow all the way down back to your toes. And then we'll repeat inhale from the toes all the way up to the crown. Exhale back down to your toes. Now inhale all the way up to the crown of your head. But as you exhale, exhale back down towards your ankles. And then when you inhale from your ankles, let the flow of breath go back up to the crown of your head. And exhale back towards your ankles. Inhale from your ankles to the crown of your head. On this exhalation, allow your attention to come down towards your knees. Inhale from your knees up to the crown. Exhale from your crown back towards your knees. Inhale from your knees to the crown. Exhale from your crown and to your perineum, the base of your spine. Inhale from your perineum up to the crown. Exhale back to the perineum. Inhale from the perineum to the crown. But exhale now to your navel center. From your navel to the crown. Inhale. Exhale from your crown to your navel center. Again, inhale from the navel to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the navel. Inhale from the navel to the crown. Exhale from your crown to your heart center. Inhale from your heart center to the crown. Exhale from the crown to your heart. Inhale from your heart to the crown. Exhale from your crown to your throat. Inhale from your throat to the crown. Exhale from your crown to your throat. Inhale from your throat to the crown. Exhale from your crown to the throat. Inhale from your throat to the crown. Now exhale from the crown to the center of your forehead. Inhale from the center of your forehead to your crown. Exhale from your crown to the center of your forehead. Inhale from the center of your forehead to your crown. Now exhale from the crown out through your nostrils. Follow the flow of breath from your nostrils. Inhaling up to the crown. Now release any awareness of the inhalation and exhalation to or from any point, and just experience that space within your body that your body occupies. And that each breath is a sensation, a pulsation of energy within this space. And that your mind resides in the entirety of this space. It's an extraordinary place of your inner consciousness. Slowly, and begin to bring some small movements into your fingers and toes. And keeping this sense of calm and spaciousness in your awareness, we're going to slowly invite you to roll over onto your side and come up into a upright seated position. And I invite you to find a comfortable seat. You need a little, you can sit on a blanket to keep your hips lifted or on a meditation cushion, but find a nice comfortable seated position. We're going to practice alternate nostril breathing, which is a very balancing pranayama, which is a breathing practice for balancing the Vata Dosha. Now, if none of you have ever done alternate nostril breathing, this may be new for you, so be open to new experiences in 2021. So the way that we do this practice is we do a mudra with a hand mudra. So first you're going to make a fist with your hand, your dominant hand. For me, it's my right. You're going to use your thumb, and you're going to keep your index and middle fingers down, and you're going to have your ring finger and pinky finger out. That's a mudra. And you're going to use the soft pad of your thumb and ring finger. You're going to bring those two fingers right alongside the bridge of your nose. Just slide it down to the hard cartilage. You feel that hard cartilage, and then just find that little soft space right underneath the hard cartilage. And you're going to just apply gentle pressure right and left, alternating right and left. But I will guide you, okay? So again, you're not pressing hard either way. It's a very gentle, just to block the flow of air up and down your nasal passages. We try to balance our breathing right side, left side. So I'll invite you, and if you don't like this mudra, sometimes some people will just do one finger like that, and that's okay. And if you choose to not use the hand mudra at all, that's okay too. So, this is your practice. But if you'd like to try, we call this Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Just rest your fingers gently on that place right below the hard cartilage of your nose. Both nostrils are going to be open right now, and I'm going to invite you to take a couple breaths here. Just feel the inhale and the exhale of both nostrils. And now I'm going to invite you to take an inhale. As you inhale, close off the left nostril with your ring finger as you exhale out through your right. Close off your right nostril and inhale through your left. Close off your left nostril, exhale out through your right. Close off your right nostril, inhale through your left. Close off your right nostril and exhale out through your right. But now inhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Close your right and exhale out through your left. Close off your left. Inhale through your right. Close off your right. Exhale out through your left. Close off your left. Inhale through your right. Close off your right. Exhale out through your left. Now inhale through your left. Close off, exhale out through your right. Close off, inhale through your left. Close off, exhale through your right. One more time. Inhale through your left. And then close off and exhale out through your right. Now just relax your hand for a moment. And breathe. And just notice whatever subtle, it's very subtle sensations, but just notice with your notice. For a couple breaths, and we're going to do one more round. All right, we'll do the other again. So make that hand mudra. Place your thumb and ring finger next to your nostril, but now take a nice big deep inhale. Close off your right and exhale out through your left. Close your left, inhale through your right. Close off your right. Exhale out through your left. Close off. Inhale through your right. Close off and exhale out through your left. Now inhale through your left. Close off. Exhale through your right. Inhale through your left. Close off your and exhale out through your right. Inhale through your left. Close off. Exhale through your right. Now inhale through your right. Close off. Exhale through your left. Close off. Inhale through your right. Close off. Exhale through your left. And close off. Inhale through your right. Close off. Now exhale through your left. Relax your hand. And just notice with a sense of awareness any subtle shifts in your breathing, right or left to right. And if you don't notice anything at all, that's okay too. With your hands now resting on your knees or thighs, just take a moment now, close your eyes. Imagine a white light or a white bubble of light surrounding you. Energetic field, healing light surrounding your body. Now on your next inhale, as you inhale, I want you to focus on the sound of the word so on the inhale. And as you exhale, the words hum. So the mantra is so hum, and it means that I am. So I would like for you to just take the next 2 minutes of just staying with this mantra, inhaling the word so, exhaling silently the words hum. So, hum. Saying those words silently to yourself as you inhale and exhale. On your own. Just stay with this for about another minute. Stay with the breath. The mind begins to wander. Allow the mind to wander. That's what the mind does. But keep coming back to the breath. The sounds of so, hum. Now just letting go of the mantra, so hum. I'll just invite you, if you'd like to join me, just to bow your head inwardly or place your hands together at your heart or one hand on top of the other. Just take a moment and just notice the effects of the practice today. Notice how the body feels. See if you feel a sense of warmth and nourishment, and grounding. And see if you can find a place within where you can silently repeat these words to yourself. May I be safe and protected from danger. May I find peace and healing. May I be healthy and strong. May I be kind and gentle to myself. I am doing the best that I can in this moment. May I accept myself just as I am. And from here, I'm going to just invite you to take a moment to consider one blessing in your life that you can be grateful for. And I'm grateful to all of you for allowing me this honor to be here today, to hold the space and to share these practices. So I wish you all peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.